I recently got to play the new Prince of Persia game early, and this game really surprised me. I'm MadMorph, and this is everything you need to know about Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, and why most people are wrong about this game, including myself.
Your life ends here.
When I was invited by Ubisoft to play this game for a few hours, I was intrigued, but my expectations were low. Part of me went along with some sort of morbid fascination to rubberneck at this game because when the game debuted its trailer, people were disappointed, bordering on angry. Prince of Persia doesn't get talked about a lot, but it is an iconic and beloved series, from the original in 1989, which everyone recognizes, and the generation that grew up with The Sands of Time from 2003, Warrior Within, and The Two Thrones really love those games, especially The Sands of Time. So after 10 years of no Prince of Persia games, The Lost Crown is revealed and people are annoyed. People's poor reaction to the reveal came from what they saw as a step back for the series, turning it into a generic side-scrolling beat-em-up. They said the main character didn't look Persian enough, and the fact that the main character isn't an iteration of the Prince of Persia character that we know and love. But now I've played the game, and I'm here to tell you that our expectations were wrong. This game is great.
You can still change your mind, Sargon.
I did.
So we start the preview, and I'm hoping for the best but expecting the worst, and the first 15 minutes in, I'm actually kind of disappointed. The tutorial gives a really bad impression of this game. If you pick it up and try it, please just make sure you play at least the first hour. The tutorial makes it feel like a side-scrolling linear beat-em-up, and it's actually not. We're introduced to our character, which is Sargon. He's a member of a warrior clan named the Immortals. It's worth bearing in mind this game is set in the Prince of Persia universe. It's not a reboot, it's not a sequel or a prequel, it's just a standalone story in the same world as those games. The English voice acting wasn't terrible, but I don't think it's unmissable.
Anahita, what is this all about?
I wasn't planning on killing you, Sargon. Stay out of this.
Which also made me really happy to see that you can switch the dialogue in this game to Farsi, the language of Persia, and play the game with characters speaking that language. It's not something I got to preview whilst playing, but it's definitely something I'm going to turn on when I play the game.
Vriska, you can't hide from me.
And it's not until we get to the first boss of the tutorial where I start to think maybe there's something more to this game. The boss fight felt pretty epic. It was reminiscent of a Dark Souls boss fight, learning the patterns and what their telegraphed moves are to react and then beat them. And after beating that boss, we're brought back down to Earth with the next story section. We meet the real Prince of Persia and walk around a castle talking to people and celebrating the victory.
The Rashabar, the black wind that destroys all in his path.
I didn't choose that name.
Again, this section felt very slow as a lead into the actual game and the fun beginning, and I was starting to think again, everyone was right about this game, but wait, there's more. In the night, the Prince of Persia is kidnapped, and it's our job to get him back. This is where the real game begins. We're introduced to this giant map with multiple routes and directions to take and enemies to defeat. There are trees to rest at, which reset your health, medicine, and respawn the enemies that you already defeated, earning XP from defeating the enemies to level up to unlock new skills, which are awesome so you can progress further and find more bosses to fight as you make your way to the prince. If you die, you have to respawn at the last tree that you rested at and work your way back to whatever people or boss you are fighting. And wait, is this a Souls-like? And that is where it clicked for me, because kind of. It has a lot of elements that are going to remind you of Souls-likes and Metroidvanias, and that is where the fun begins. The more moves you unlock, the cooler and cooler it gets to traverse the map and to fight the enemies. The bosses get bigger and more interesting as you work through the game. There are traps to avoid and to jump and dash over as you run across the map and working your way back to where you last died, which totally feel like a homage to the original games. Grabbing poles and swinging to other places, there are puzzles to solve which get progressively more difficult. There's a lot more going on here, and after 20 minutes in, I felt like I was playing a completely different game.
Puny mortal.
I started out very disappointed even though I had low expectations, and then I actually left this preview in a fantastic mood. The combat and the exploration in the game felt joyful, something lacking from so many games these days. I will say the characters you run into and the dialogue as you explore this map is not too compelling, and I found myself skipping because I just wanted to get back to the fun of running around the citadel and fighting my way to the next boss. The cutscenes, however, are awesome, but more on that after we talk about the first boss. The first main boss that you fight is the Manticore, and this is awesome.
Your life ends here.
I loved this fight. This boss fight was so much fun. I almost beat it on my first go, but it took me a few more after that to get the job done. What I've played so far was not extremely challenging, but it's the first couple of hours of the game. I can only imagine that later on there are some much more difficult bosses.
You are immortal. Death is your destiny.
We finally catch up with the kidnappers, and then we get the cutscene and the twist that sets up the rest of the game.
Sargon, listen to me.
Hassan is coming with me.
Step aside, Sargon. I'll deal with this.
Thank you, Varn. Anahita, please surrender. Varn?
No!
Hassan!
And then one of the immortals turns on you and kills the Prince of Persia. I've since seen when going back to the trailers that it's totally revealed that you'll actually be fighting your way through your own clan of immortals through this game, so I'm interested to see how that turns out. That leads to a boss fight which was really fun, but you are destined to lose. He's just too powerful for you, and he reveals that he has the rewind and time control powers from the previous games.
First time for everything. Your efforts are futile. There's nothing you can do to stop me. I will erase every chapter, every word of your story. I can undo it all. The gods chose me. I am the rightful king. Accept it. You can still change your mind, Sargon.
I did.
This was awesome, and I can't wait to see what happens next. But as for who'll become the next Prince of Persia, we're gonna have to find out in 2024, because that is where my preview ended. I really enjoyed my time with this game. It's not going to be for everybody, and this game is definitely still going to have its haters, but I think a lot of people are going to be turned off by the first 20 minutes if they don't give this game a fair chance. They shouldn't have to. I feel like the game should start stronger than it does, but that's how it is for now. If this is your kind of thing, stick with it, give it an hour, and see if you enjoy it. It's coming to PC and all of the consoles next year. It's currently scheduled for the 15th of January. Are you excited for this one? Let me know in a comment below, and subscribe for more gaming previews and playthroughs. If you want to get my recommendations straight to your phone, then you can follow me on TikTok and Instagram, where I recommend games most days. Until next time, thank you for listening. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Check out one of those videos on the screen to go on another adventure with me right now. Good night.